Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, everybody, to tonight's live stream. My name is Ian Shepard, and I am the owner of Right Start Newcomers Services. So welcome to our weekly Wednesday live stream. Today's St. Patrick's Day, so happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody, especially if you're Irish. I'm half Irish, so I'm half celebrating and half working tonight. So we have a great show. Today's show is about buying a home in Canada. So we have two very special guests. Our special guests tonight are Keilin Ramirez and Anthony Carter. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about them, and then I'm going to introduce them to the live stream. So Anthony Carter is a well-seasoned realtor with more than 8 years of experience, of real estate experience. He comes from Newfoundland originally, and his charm came with him. I like that. Anthony serves his clients with transparency, truth, and kindness, and he goes the extra mile with each transaction. And we also tonight have Keilin Ramirez. So Keilin is bilingual in Spanish and English, and Keilin strives to help her clients achieve their goals with care, compassion, and genuine understanding. Keilin earned a bachelor's degree in her home country of Cuba and a business diploma in Nova Scotia. As a newcomer to Canada, she has overcome many barriers during her first few years here, one of which was buying her first home in Halifax. So that is the brief version of their biographies, and I'm going to introduce them to the live stream, and we'll have a little chat with them before they start their presentation. So here they are. Welcome to the live stream, Anthony and Keilin. How are you guys tonight?
Good. How you doing?
Great. How are you, Keilin?
Very good. Excited to share all this news with all newcomers and also anybody who's joining us tonight. It's a great pleasure. Thanks, Ian.
Oh, you're welcome. So is there anything else you guys wanted to add to your biographies that you think that maybe I missed?
No, I think you hit it on the nail pretty good there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I also want to welcome our viewers. So we are live on Facebook. We are live on YouTube as well. And just to let you know, if you miss the live session, you'll be able to watch the recording on both Facebook and YouTube. So we have a few comments. Maayan is watching. Hey, Maayan. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Abdullah is watching, and Halima is watching. Hi, Halima. How are you? Do you remember Halima, Anthony?
I do. Hi.
Yeah. Anthony and I used to work together at Icelands a few years ago, so we've known each other for some time.
Yeah.
Great. Okay, let's go ahead with the presentation. Give me 1 second here. Okay. All right, so let's... Okay, so I am going to fade into the background, hopefully, and just let me... Okay. So I think we are good to go. Here's the presentation, and you guys can take it away.
Perfect. Thanks, Ian.
Hi,
everybody. Thanks for joining us. Keilin and I both work on a team together called Golden Realty Group. So what we've done is we've just kind of briefed up one of our buyer's guides that we go through with any of our buyers, specifically our first-time home buyers that we work with. So we try to be as informative as possible and as detailed as possible with any of our buyers. And this is our step-by-step process. So just to give quick introductions for us, again, my name is Anthony Carter. I'm from Newfoundland originally. I've been in Halifax for 20 plus years now in the Halifax area. I think I've lived in every community or neighborhood at least around here. So I know a lot of the areas fairly well. I've been doing real estate for over 8 years now. Been with Golden Realty for 2 years now as well. I have a background in human services and working in nonprofits. Like Ian said, I worked at Icelands with him as well. So I had facilitated a program for newcomer youth on Canadian work culture, building resumes, getting job experience, things like that. So I have a background with working with newcomers as well. That's I guess that's me a little bit in a nutshell. So.
Oh, okay. So here I go. Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for joining. My name is Keilin Ramirez. I am originally from Cuba. I moved to Canada in 2012, in the winter of 2012, so it was very cold. Since I moved here, I struggled with, adjusting to Canada. And I do believe, and I'm very passionate about helping others when they first get here. It's a very interesting situation, but there are many ways to overcome all of those barriers. When I got my first home as a newcomer, it was like a dream come true. Because I guess when we all move to Canada, we want to get our first home. But I decided to start a career in real estate just so I could help others, because there are many things that are different from our home country to what we have to face here in Canada when we're getting home. So that's why for me, it's a passion, and it is a very emotional career, because when we're trying to help them, it's important that, the clients feel like they can trust us and ask as many questions as they need to, because it's all new. And since then, I really enjoyed working with clients, helping them. And yeah, I feel like now I can help more people get their first home.
Perfect. Awesome.
So when we first meet with buyers, sometimes we like to sit down with them and go through a step-by-step process. This helps us understand what their reasoning is behind wanting to get a home, what their goals are, what their objectives are, and from there we can work towards basically helping you achieve those goals in that process. We're non-pressured type of individuals, especially with our team. We like to pride ourselves on the quality that we present with our clients, and not just turning houses quick over and turning clients over quickly. So this is our 12-step process. The first thing that we do is we try to understand the client's reason why. So why you're looking for a home. Is it for an individual? Is it for a family? What your overall goals and objectives are. One thing that we always want to focus on with our clients as well too is making sure that they're working with a real estate professional that they can trust. It's a huge commitment, and it's one of the biggest investments that you'll ever make in your entire life. So you want to make sure that you're working with somebody that's going to have your best interests in mind, and kind of focus on just building that trust with you. Any buyers that we work with, we always try to ensure that we're going through a mortgage pre-approval process from the very beginning as well. The mortgage process and the pre-approval thing is kind of crucial as well, because we want to make sure that we're setting you up for the right direction, and then we're not setting anybody up for failure or disappointment. Getting a pre-approval doesn't mean that you're fully approved for a mortgage, but it makes sure that we're heading ourselves in the right direction for exactly what you're looking for, knowing the price point that you're looking for, so we can make sure that your search is directed in the right price point as well, especially with our market right now, with it being as competitive as it is. We want to make sure that we're looking in the right price points, that you're not getting outbidded or anything like that in the wrong price points.
Something I like to point in that topic,
yeah.
Anthony, is that why it's so important to get pre-approved or to know how much you qualify for. It's just so you don't get your hopes up looking at properties it's out of your range and end up completely disappointed because you cannot afford that. So getting a price point that you'll feel comfortable with and starting looking in that price point is very important, and it will help you feel more comfortable and happy through the whole process of finding a home.
So the next thing that we do is we talk about your wants and needs. Once we have your pre-approval, we know what the price point is. We can direct you into whether you're looking into, into condos, detached homes, semi-detached homes. If you're looking for a bungalow, a 2-story, things like that. We want to talk about your wants and what your needs are. Your wants being things that you really want and things that you're going to really enjoy having in a home. Your needs being things that are a little bit more crucial and a little bit more important for you. Example being, if you have kids that are just starting school, you want to make sure that they're in a school district that's going to fit your passion and your lifestyle and what you want for your kids growing up. Other needs could be a garage because you have 2 or 3 different vehicles that you need to make sure that are stored away for the winter. So everybody's needs and everybody's wants are going to be completely different, and we'll go through those things as well too. From there, once we've received all of that information and we know that we're working together, we always make sure that we go through a buyer's agency agreement, and that basically just solidifies our relationship with anybody that we're working with. It holds us accountable as real estate agents to make sure that we're doing the right things and we're following our fiduciary duties and having the best interests of our clients in mind. And it just solidifies a relationship between the client and with us. From there, after we have all of that done and we know what your wants and needs are, we know that your price point is, that's when we'll start looking at properties. We'll start doing search engines and things like that. That's when the fun start happening. We'll look at specific areas, making sure that we're looking for the right communities for you. If you don't have a vehicle, that it's on the right bus route for you. If there's different churches that you want to be involved in, whether or not they're close by and in the right proximity for you, different things like that. I think that searching for the homes is probably the most exciting part.
Yes.
Right now it's a little stressful just because there's nothing on the market for a lot of clients, so a lot of competing offers and stuff. But it is the most exciting part for a lot of buyers for it, especially for being a first-time home buyer. Do you want to do the next one?
Yes, and it also helps when you're looking for a home. As I say, when you know your budget and everything, it's also good to look at it like, looking at the potential as well. Getting your first home, it doesn't always mean that we will be able, as first, newcomers and stuff, we're going to be able to get the home of our dreams because it's our first home, but it will help us build equity also. And over the years, for me personally, it's better paying your own mortgage than renting. So looking at buying a home from that perspective will also help buyers to look at the homes. Maybe it doesn't have everything you want, but it has the most important stuff, and it will help you here in Canada when it comes to deciding what house to get and things like that. One advice that I always give to my clients is, maybe it's not the perfect home, but if it has good bones and potential, it might be really good for you. So, that's something to think about. When we look at all the properties right now, well, the way the market is, you have to act very quickly. So properties come into the market right away, and you have to go see it within like 3 to 4 days because they're only taking offers for a certain amount of time. So you need to act quickly. And then it could put a little bit of pressure into the clients. But looking at the bright side, is also good. You have to make decisions faster. So it will help you get there.
And that's what we're here for as real estate agents as well, too, is to help you through those stressful moments of finding the right home. And then when you realize that's the one that you want to put an offer in, we can help you with that process of figuring out what price point to offer, what conditions to have in through the offer, how quickly the conditions are going to get met, things like that, looking at closing dates. We're there to help you along that way in every step of that process as well, too.
And then, yes, as Anthony said, then once those conditions, we will explain everything to you, and then we will write an offer on your name. We'll send the offer to the selling agent, and they will review it. And right now, typically what's happening is that they will present all the offers on the same day, and they will choose one. Not always the highest offer, but they will choose one, depending on conditions and other aspects. So very quickly, if you got the home or not. And after, well, hopefully, when you get an accepted offer, now it takes a few tries, a few offers sent in to get an accepted offer. But when you do, then it's time to meet the conditions. So it doesn't mean that the house is yours. There are conditions to be met. Typically, it's like 10 to 15 days.
Somewhere around there, yeah.
Yes. So in that time, you'll have to get the actual approval for the mortgage. You'll also have to do inspection of the home and secure the insurance. So then after that, we'll go to the other aspects. You don't move in yet. So you still have to wait until closing date. Did I miss one? Okay, yes. Then you'll have to wait until closing day, whatever you agreed with the seller. Then for that day is when you actually move into the house. It doesn't typically happen in the morning though. So lawyers need to do, they need to transfer all the funds to the seller and things like that. So typically it's in the afternoon that you actually get the keys of the home. And then the house is yours. I guess that's the happy part of the whole process when you actually move in.
So that's our step-by-step process, as Keilin was saying towards the end. Once we start offering on properties, things start to move fairly quickly then, going through all of the conditions and everything. But to always keep in mind that that's what we're there for, is to help you along with that. There's a lot of things that you won't think about as being first-time home buyers, but they're always in the back of our heads of things to look out for you and make sure that everything is lining up the way that they're supposed to. We'll help you with any process, any steps of the process, whether that's securing the mortgage, getting a final approval with the mortgage, getting home inspectors, getting them booked. If you're living outside the city, if we have to do water tests and water samples and septic inspections, things like that. So we're always there to be able to help you with every step. I call it hand-holding, not in a mean way, but just in an overly thorough way, is that we're just there every step of the way with you guys. So yeah, so that's our step-by-step process.
And I just want to make sure that you guys don't feel it is overwhelming, but that's why you work with a realtor. We'll make sure you don't forget any of the steps and everything falls into place by the end, okay?
Great. So should we move on to the next slide?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So this is just something I threw in here very quickly. It's just talking about the closing costs for purchasing a home. To secure a mortgage, you need a minimum of a 5% down payment. The more that you have for a down payment, the better it is for you for your mortgage approval. But every lender is completely different, whether you're going through a bank, whether you're going through a mortgage specialist to shop around for interest rates for you and the best rates possible. But these are also things that you have to keep in mind that you have on top of that 5% as a minimum down payment as well too. So a lot of banks will give you a pre-approval and they'll tell you need that 5% down, but they may not necessarily mention to you that you need the closing costs as well. Excuse me. So that's something that as real estate agents, we want to make sure that you're comfortable with and that you're secured with as well too. On top of the 5%, I usually recommend to have another 3 to 5% as your closing costs. Depending on the home, everything's going to be a little bit different as well too. So just a couple of those things off the list that are kind of the most important things, I think, are the home inspection. You usually get that done within a couple of days of having an accepted offer. That can be usually around $500 plus tax. If you're doing a septic and water samples, then you're adding another $500 to $900 on top of that for inspections as well too. All your legal fees and your mortgage approval, or your appraisal, fuel adjustment, taxes, deed transfer, your insurance, all those things are things that you pay at closing. It's not things that you're going to pay up front, but the inspections and stuff are stuff that you are going to pay up front during the process. These inspection stuff are, if you are going through with them, then they're all different individuals that work independently, so they all want to get paid obviously right away. So, and they're doing a service for you right away. So, and we'll help you along with those processes as well too. So, So just a couple of things to keep in mind is your home insurance, your home inspection, if you're doing any water tests, legal fees with a lawyer, the oil, if the place is oil, or oh my God, I lost my words. Propane, sorry. If it's oil or propane, then you would pay for a full tank, and you would be moving into a home that has a full tank available for you as well too. So the sellers will have a full for you, and then you just pay them back for that tank. Tax adjustments. Usually I recommend to have about 6 months worth of the taxes available for the closing. And the deed transfer tax is one that's very crucial. So in HRM in Halifax directly, we have a 1.5% deed transfer tax. So if you're looking at a $100,000 house, you'd have a $1,500 deed transfer tax. And that 1.5% will go accordingly to whatever price point that you're at. Your mortgage insurance is something that you will get done to have set up and good to go for the time of the purchase as well too. And a couple of other things you want to keep in mind too is your moving costs, getting power set up, getting your water set up, your phone, your internet, things like that. And one other thing I always recommend is the day that you move in and you get the keys, you should have a locksmith come in and actually change all the locks as well too, because you never know who's had the keys beforehand. And that's just a safety thing for anybody moving into a new home. The other thing to keep in mind as well too is if you're looking at condos, then you will be paying for condo fees as well too. So you'll pay the value of the condo fees for when you're actually moving into the property as well.
Great. Oops.
So this is our team. Maggie McGilvery is our team leader. Deborah Eaton is our director of operations and communications. She helps keep us all organized and in line when we're out running the roads with our clients and stuff. Again, there's myself. I've been with Golden Realty for 2 years now, and I've been doing real estate for 8 years. Keilin's been with us for a couple of months now, and
yes. I'm the rocky one.
She's hitting the ground running with it. We also have Kyle DeYoung as well, and Arthur Zhang. Arthur speaks multiple languages as well too, and Kyle and I are both part of the LGBT community as well. So
the most important part about our team, let me just point that out, Ian, is that everybody's welcome. We work with all kinds of nationalities. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter if you're not ready right now. We can still advise you. So reach out to any of us, and we'll be more than happy to help you.
Great. Awesome. So I guess that's the presentation. So we're going to have our question and answer period now. So feel free to ask any question you want. We have these two real estate experts, so they're willing to stick around for another 15 or 20 minutes and answer any question you might have. And if you don't have any questions, I will ask lots of questions on your behalf. Yeah.
Any questions that you have in the back of your head or in your mind as well too, you're probably not the only one that has that question. So please feel free to ask them, and we'll do our best to be able to answer them. So
yeah, great. And like we say as teachers, there's no such thing as a stupid question. So no question is stupid. Ask anything you want. This is not really a question, but it's a statement. Mohamad says, hi, Ian, Anthony, and Keilin. Hi, Mohamad. How's it going? Good. Thank you for joining us tonight.
It's very great. So that, everybody knows that from my own experience, it was all like a different language to me when I started looking into buying a home. So, we've shared a bunch of things right now, and you guys probably don't know where to start. It's always good that, just reach out later on and let us know.
Okay, great. We do have a question from my good buddy, Maayan. So Maayan's asking these days, how many houses go for over asking? So maybe some percentage of homes that you're seeing that are going over the asking price.
I think that percentage is probably close to 100 right now.
Whoa, okay.
I couldn't give you an exact number, exact percentage, but I mean, it's a supply and demand type of situation, right? There's a lot of buyers that are out there that have full pre-approvals in place, that are sitting and just waiting for places to go to market. So if places are priced accordingly and priced properly, they're unfortunately just going into bidding wars for buyers right now. One thing we try to do is just gauge what it's at and make sure that people aren't paying an astronomical amount over asking that isn't unrealistic for the place to be able to continue to carry that value.
Yeah, great question. What's your opinion on what's pushing this crazy price inflation? So I know there's some people from other provinces who are buying sight unseen, but what's fundamentally pushing these prices so high?
We're definitely seeing an increase in non-Nova Scotians come into the province. But I've been seeing that for a while as well too, even before COVID, working with a lot of out-of-town buyers that are purchasing and doing a lot of virtual stuff. So, I mean, we've had to adjust our style of business quite a bit for doing virtual tours for out-of-town buyers and people that aren't able to come here on house hunting trips and things like that. I wouldn't say that that's the reason that we're having the increase in prices so much as just the supply and demand type of concept more than anything as well too, right?
It's also that it's more affordable. Mortgages, the interest rates are extremely low. So for someone who's paying an apartment for, I don't know, $1,800, they could be paying a mortgage easily in that price range. You know, right now, mortgage rates are really low. So I think that's a big point too. More people can afford to buy a home right now.
Yeah, great. Okay, thank you for your question, Maayan. And we have another question from Maayan. So are there hot zones around HRM where houses close super quick, and which zones are slower?
A year ago, I would say yes, there's definitely quicker areas and slower areas. Right now, in the current market, I don't think there's really any areas that are slow. I think everything is moving fairly quickly overall, though.
Yeah. Okay, great. And Maayan has one more question. That makes sense. Do you include this extra cost in your client's budget? How much percentage do you recommend accounting for in case it goes over asking?
Right now, I definitely do. So just as an example, if somebody's has a pre-approval in place for $400,000, for the most part, I have them searching around the $280 to $320 kind of price point. So it's giving us that little bit of cushion that we may need as well too. I don't want to set, I think both of us for that matter, never want to set any of our clients up for a disappointment or failure. So I don't want to send somebody to a $399,000 house when their max budget is $400,000, knowing that we're not able to compete in that process, right? If there's a house that I think is a good opportunity for a client, then I will stock it like no tomorrow to see whether or not it goes into competing offers. And if it doesn't, then try to be that shark that's going to jump on it within minutes that it hasn't, if it's at their max price point or close to that. So I try to gauge it right now to be a little bit or sometimes even quite a bit lower as well too. Unfortunately, there's no real rhyme or reason to how much everything is going for. And generally, even 6 months ago, we were trying to get percentages and working off of percentages of how much things are going for, but can't really work off of that in the current market. So,
yeah, great. That was a great answer. Thank you, Maayan, for your question. And we're going to move on to Mohamad's question. So, which better, invest money or get mortgage for newcomers? So I think he means, is it better to put your money in an investment like maybe the stock market or to buy a house? Is that what you mean, Mohamad? Anyway, however you guys interpret that question, you can go ahead and answer that.
Well, in my honest opinion, I would go for real estate. Of course, you know, in 5 to 10 years, you can build equity if things stay the way they are, you know, and it's kind of safe, depending. Nothing is 100% safe, but it's okay. It works for a lot of newcomers. One of the dreams for newcomers is buying their first home. And then after that, they move up to a better home, or they buy a second property. And it's like an investment property. So, for retirement purposes and things like that, it works for me, my opinion.
I think the other thing as well, too, is Nova Scotia as a whole had such low price points for so long for the prices of houses in comparison to the rest of the country, and for large cities, specifically around Halifax. So eventually we were going to see some type of spike in pricing as well, too, because we haven't had a large increase or spike. I think it's a push from COVID. I think it's a little bit coincidental that it's happened with COVID and everything as well, too, in the time frame. But I think it was something that was bound to happen eventually anyway. I personally don't see the market crashing and burning. So I don't think that that's a real risk factor. So real estate is always usually a pretty safe objective. If you're living in it yourself, you're putting money into your own investment. And if you're doing the right things to the property, like Keilin was mentioning earlier, if this place has good bones and it needs some updates and stuff, you're able to build up your own equity on top of just natural equity as well, too. And if you're looking at investment properties as well, and you have somebody that's in there that's taking care of the property and renting from you, they're paying your rent basically, or with their rent, they're paying your mortgage. So they're putting money in your pocket in long terms.
Yeah, they give you opportunities, to earn more money. You could either rent basement and things like that. And those are things that, if not, for me, it was always hard to save money. If it's not a way of having a mortgage and having that discipline to be paying every month and things like that, it's a good way to build equity in your life.
Great. I've heard that expression, and maybe some of our viewers aren't familiar with a house has good bones. So what does it mean if a house has good bones?
Yeah, so sorry about that. Yeah, good bones means that it's good. How would you say it in English? Structure.
When we go into a house, we'll try to look at like the structure and make sure the bones, so as in like the structure and the foundation and things like that, are all in good shape. Looking at the roof, making sure there doesn't look like there's any walls that are going to collapse in, the roof doesn't look like it's going to fall in on top of you, things like that. I know those are extreme kind of examples, but just looking at the overall structure of it.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe it has a few, blemishes. It maybe needs some paint or new windows or something, but the overall structure is intact.
Exactly. Yeah. Like a new kitchen is something that's maintainable and achievable. Having to fix the foundation may be a completely different story and different situation.
Yeah, and that would become apparent when you have a home inspection, right? So a home inspector would come, look at the foundation, look at things to make sure that it does have good bones, right?
Absolutely, and that's stuff that we'll try to point out. I mean, we're not home inspectors by any stretch of the imagination. But going through the viewings and stuff, I usually say to my clients that if I see it, you're going to hear it, because it's just going to come right out of my mouth, because there's no filter whatsoever. And it's not to scare anybody. It's because I want to be as informative as possible for any of my buyers. So they're fully aware of what they're getting themselves into with the house.
And here's something I did when I got my place. I didn't like the kitchen, right? The kitchen was very ugly. But I learned about the opportunity of renovating the kitchen, because the place, I loved it. Like, it was really nice. It was what I wanted, but the kitchen was horrible. So I did a whole new kitchen, and I was able to add that into my mortgage. So I didn't actually pay out of my pocket, which could be an option also for some buyers.
Yeah, great idea. Okay, awesome. Thank you for your question, Mohamad. We're going to move on. We have a few more questions. So Maayan again. I know Maayan is in the market to buy a house pretty soon, so he's asking a lot of questions because it's really important information for him. So would you recommend going out of HRM to buy a house these days?
We're definitely seeing that to be much more common. So myself personally, like, I work anywhere that's about a 2.5 hour radius outside of the city as well. So I'll work downtown Halifax, downtown Dartmouth. I'll go as far as Digby, Amherst, Antigonish. I've went to coastlines of Cape Breton for a client before. So wherever our clients need me or need us to go, if it's in our schedule that we're able to give them the full service and be able to do that, then we definitely will. I'm definitely seeing a lot more people looking outside the city lately. As far as even just people that work in the city, like not realizing that you can go to Windsor, and Windsor's only a 45-minute drive from the city. Same with Truro's only a 50-minute drive from the city. So you might not be competing as much, getting a bit more bang for your buck in reference to the house size, the property size, and things like that. And you're really not as far as you think you are from the city. So,
yeah. And now with the whole working from home craze, I mean, that could continue. And so I think there is a lot of interest in getting out of cities and going to a more rural location. Would you say that's right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, great. Okay, thank you, Maayan. And Maayan says, thanks for all your answers, guys.
You're welcome.
Great. And Mohamad is just confirming that we did answer the right question. So thank you for your question, Mohamad. Maayan again. So from the moment a client starts looking for a house, typically, how long does it take to find one and close on it? A matter of a couple of weeks or a couple of months? That's a good question.
That's a little hard to answer right now, I think, just because it depends on what you're looking for and with the market the way that it is and how you're competing as much as you possibly could be. When we do our contracts up, I usually do my contracts up for 12 months. Not to say that it's going to take 12 months to get you into a home, but I want to make sure that we have enough time to be able to get us to where we need to be. If we're looking at new construction, you're looking at 9 to 12 month process right now. That's from signing contract to the property being built. New construction is very, very, very busy, and I think they're a little overwhelmed with the amount of people looking for new construction. So the timeframes are definitely kind of spread out with new construction right now. If you're looking for resale, then once you have an accepted offer, I'd say an average is 45 to 90 days of closing, usually somewhere in around there, depending on the sellers, depending on the buyers, and what agreement they can come up with.
And something we do, we always try to get a lot of information from the seller side of things, so we can help buyers depending on what they are looking for. Some sellers want to close in like a month, and some others want to close as soon as possible, as soon as the conditions are met and they're ready to move. So it all depends also on the seller side of things.
Great. Okay. Thank you for your thorough answer. Thanks for your question, Maayan. And Mohamad says, thank you for answering his question. You're welcome, Mohamad. And we have another question from Dennis Joyce. I know Dennis and Joyce, they're a couple. So hi guys, very informative session. Just one question. You can skip this question if not allowed. What is your sales ratio? So I don't really know what that is referring to, but you guys probably know.
Like commission wise?
Is that, do you mean the commission that a realtor would take?
I'm not sure.
So yeah, let's assume it's the commission. So what does a realtor get on a sale of a home?
When we're working with a buyer, we don't charge the buyer anything at all. So our services are completely free for a buyer if we're going through the MLS route. So during the process of signing a buyer's agreement with us, it will state in there on average a 2.5% commission rate, and that will get paid out through the seller. So the seller's agent will work something out with the seller, and they will put that out to us. The only times that we would ever have to charge a buyer would be if we went down a private purchase and we were representing them through the private purchase, and the seller just completely refused to pay the commission. I'll knock on wood, but in almost 9 years of real estate, I've never had to charge a buyer the commission rate. So it doesn't actually cost the buyers anything at all to use our services. Yeah.
Okay.
So she explained that the ratio between sales closing and non-closing. So she gave a little bit more input into her question.
I find in my experience, I've been doing real estate for less than a year now. I had one deal that didn't go through. Most of them they do go through. If that's what you're asking, Joyce, like you mean after they get an accepted offer and until closing. But I'm new. I'm the rocky one, so Anthony can say.
We definitely have situations where things may not work out as planned. Like I had mentioned before, getting a pre-approval is the first step, but it's not a 100% guarantee of getting a full approval. And if we go through a home inspection and there's something that's severely wrong with the house, and it's really not worth it or in the best interest of the buyer, then we will advise them to walk away from the home. So I really don't know what my ratios would be specifically. I mean, the majority of clients that we work with, we're pretty determined and focused to make sure that we find them the right spot for them. So we'll keep working until we find that spot for them. So I have clients that I've been working with for a year to 2 years or longer on trying to find them the right home. So we won't ever pressure you or force you. And if it takes that long, it takes that long. So
yeah, awesome, great answer, and thank you very much for your question. So we do have a few more questions if you guys can stay on for a few more minutes. Dennis and Joyce say, awesome, thank you. You're very welcome. So let's move on, and Halima has a question. So do you think the prices will come down, not actually crashing, but some kind of lower than what they are now?
Personally, I don't think the prices are going to come down. I think eventually, once there's more houses on the market, we're going to come to more of a balanced market then. So I think the prices will balance out where there's enough buyers and enough listings to kind of balance themselves out. Once we have comparables for houses around, then we go off of those comparables for list price and stuff like that. So I think the list price are going to maybe slightly increase more as opposed to being lower and then going into higher competing offers. But I think eventually we're going to get to a spot where we're just going to balance out a little bit more. But I don't think we're going to have like a crash or a crash and burn type of situation.
Yeah. Okay, great. Hopefully that answers your question, Halima. Thank you for asking it. Maayan has a comment. Would be nice if they stay stable first. I think he was talking about either when we were talking about the bones of a house or the prices. I'm not sure what that was referring to. That was from about 10 minutes ago. Yeah. Okay, great. Thanks, Maayan. And another question from Halima. How does Truro look like?
I was in Truro on Sunday, wasn't I?
Yes.
For one of our mutual clients. Again, like I work a lot outside the city, and I know a lot of the communities and stuff out there. Keilin's had a buyer that's been great that she's been working with, and just pulled me into the situation as well too to assist her with Truro. So there's not a whole lot for sale in Truro right now. But it's a great community and great little spot as well too. There's a reason why they call it the hub of Nova Scotia, because you can really get anywhere in a hour to 2 hour radius from there, which makes it super convenient and nice. So,
and it's about what, an hour from the city or so? 1 hour to Halifax?
I live in Mount Uniacke, and I can get there in about an hour and 10 minutes. So not far from there. Also, I mean, if you're working in Dartmouth, you'd be an hour drive to work. I mean, if you're living in Cole Harbour and you worked in Halifax during rush hour and going across the bridge, you're probably looking at an hour commute anyway, right?
Yeah. Great. Okay, thank you for your question, Halima. Let's move on. Okay, Dennis and Joyce have another question. Describe a scenario where it was an easy sale for you.
Well, for me, easy sale was clients that moved here, newcomers as well from Ottawa, and they were lucky enough, it was last October, that they saw a home that was new construction, nobody had lived on it, and they got an accepted offer on the house. So it was already built, but nobody had lived on it. It was just built like, I don't know, 3 to 4 days before that, got into the market, and we got it. That was an easy sale, and it was a beautiful home and a happy family. That's my easy story.
Yeah, but it's not usually like that.
No.
I wouldn't think. No.
Scenarios that'll always come up that will surprise us a little bit or something like that. So
it's full of surprises. That's the thing. Every transaction, every home, every deal is different. There are always new things to work through it. But, you know, I mean, like, that's the reality of real estate, right? And the thing is always finding solutions and being resourceful, talking to the right experts like lawyers and mortgage brokers, us, to advise you. So, you know, finding solutions is the best we can do. So don't be afraid, because we're here to help you.
Great. And yeah, Dennis and Joyce said good for them. Thumbs up. So we do have one more question from Veronica. Hey, Veronica, how's it going? So Veronica asked, do you have any experience bringing money from abroad to buy a house?
It's a little bit trickier, but I mean, it's completely possible and feasible. If you're purchasing with cash from out of country, usually it will have to be brought over and may have to sit into a bank account here locally for 30 to 60 days, depending on the lawyers. If it's going through a lender, then just verifying where the funds are coming from and having a track record and a trace of it as well too for the down payment and things. So if you have funds that you're bringing over from overseas or from the States or anything like that, it's just good for us to know ahead of time, because it's going to help us direct what our plan is and our time process, I guess, is more than anything, and knowing when to start transferring those funds and how long they need to be here for and things like that. So,
and that's a really good question, because I remember when I had to buy my home, I had to show proof. So it's not only having the money for the down payment, it's showing the proof of where that money came from. So, you know, if you're thinking of buying a home and you have money back home that you would like to bring in, you got to do that as soon as possible, just so when the time comes that conditions have to be met and closing date is coming, everything is good. Because some banks will actually ask you, you know, like, I don't know, proof of where you got the funds from and things like that. So it is very important that you bring your funds to Canada before you put anything in place.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, great answer. Okay, thank you for your question, Veronica. I don't see any more questions right now, and I know our time is pretty much up. So I want to thank Anthony and Keilin for coming on tonight. I think they did a really good job describing the home buying process. I'm just going to put up their contact info one more time. So this is the website where you can check them out, and you can contact them directly here. So there's Anthony's number and email, and there's Keilin's number and email. So reach out to them, give them a call, send them an email, ask some questions, and if you are in the market to buy a house, please consider them to be your realtors here in the Halifax and Nova Scotia region. Okay, well, great. Thank you guys again. Is there anything you guys wanted to add before we go?
Thank you for having us. We love informing people and kind of just spreading our knowledge that we have about the home buying purchase. And, I love working with first-time home buyers. I love working with newcomers. I think that's both of us, really. Anybody that wants to reach out to us, feel free to reach out to us. And any other questions you have, just reach out.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, well, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for the wonderful questions, and hopefully we'll see you next time. So next Wednesday, 6:30, we'll have another session. The upcoming session is about saving money in Canada, so that should be very informative. Okay, thanks a lot, everybody.
Good night.
Thanks.
Bye.
Yeah.